if you want to get into Sony on a budget, you might want to consider this camera right here, the Sony NEX 5R. Or you might not. Let's get into it. The Sony NEX line shares a lot of similarities with the Sony a6000 line. Most importantly, the same lens mount. Now, being an E-mount camera, that means it's compatible with all the same lenses the Sony a6000 line is compatible with. In particular, Sigma's holy trinity of prime lenses. Ergonomically speaking, the NEX 5R is actually really small. I mean, it's about the same size as a compact camera from the early to mid 2000s. It's actually smaller than the average smartphone, minus the width, of course. Now, as always on these videos, I like to film as much as possible on the camera in question. That way, all the footage you're seeing and all the audio you're hearing is coming straight from the camera being reviewed. Which leads me to the first thing that I like and the first thing that I don't like about the NEX 5R. First, the bad news. There's no microphone input. So everything that you're hearing is coming straight from the camera's onboard mic. The onboard mic's pretty decent in situations like this where you're close to the camera, but anything where there's like background noise or, hey anything where there's background noise, it's going to be amplified because you don't have a mic input. Now, secondly, the thing that I like about the NEX 5R is, unlike so many other Sony's cameras, it actually has a flip-up screen where you can see yourself. That makes things so much easier, having that flip-up screen where you can actually see yourself when you're recording. Now, one thing that might bother some users is the NEX 5R's menu system. In an era where people always complain about Sony menus, the NEX line was the OG of frustrating Sony menu systems. Now, you have to remember the NEX came at a time when Sony was trying to target smartphone users who were looking to upgrade from their phones into a mirrorless camera, and so in that attempt at trying to make things more simplistic, they inadvertently made things way more complicated than they needed to be. For example, something as simple as changing the ISO on this camera. Is it under camera? Is it under setup? No, it's under a tile called brightness and color. And that's the thing, it's that kind of unintuitiveness that sort of haunts this camera. Another thing worth noting is there aren't a lot of physical controls on this camera. It was designed to be largely touch-based. Having said that, even something as simple as changing from manual mode to aperture priority requires a click inside the menu system. Another really bizarre thing about this camera is it literally comes in either a PAL or an NTSC mode, where all modern cameras can either go from NTSC to PAL with a click of a switch and a menu button. You literally either get a PAL or an NTSC camera. Like this particular camera that I'm recording this video on is PAL only. I have the frame rate options of 25p and 50p. There's no 24, 30, or 60 on this camera. I mean, and there was a third-party app that would allow you to switch from PAL to NTSC, but that app was on an app store that no longer is supported by Sony. Sony's app store for this camera is just literally a ghost town at this point. Now, in terms of autofocus, the NEX 5R actually holds the honors of being Sony's very first camera to have its hybrid autofocus system. While this system was sort of perfected with the a6000, this is an early version and it's actually pretty good most of the time. And I will add that if you are looking at these Sony NEX3 and Sony NEX5 cameras as a budget option, the NEX 5R is the only one of the 3s and 5s that actually has the hybrid autofocus system. All the others are just the old-fashioned autofocus. Now, in terms of image quality on the NEX 5R is pretty decent, but I will admit it still just looks a little bit dated. As much as I look at this footage compared to the a6000, the a6000 has like a more modern style to it. The NEX 5R kind of feels like video from a camera 8 years ago. I mean, it's not bad, but it's just not as good as what Sony has eventually become. Literally almost just stepped on a snake back there. Now, with this camera costing $150 and the a6000 currently selling for around $300, you have to ask the question, is the a6000 $150 better? And the short answer is no. it's actually like $500 better. Now, while the A6000 has huge improvements in autofocus and image quality and just overall specs in general, you can't quite put a price on user experience. The A6000 just has a much better, much more modern user experience, whereas with the NEX 5R, you feel like you're using a camera from 8 years ago. It feels dated and you're kind of aware of it the entire time. I mean, the thing with the NEX 5R is it's not a bad camera, and that flip screen comes in really, really handy. It's just that in terms of this or something used like the A6000 actually just outperforms it in every single way, and it's kind of hard to know that for just $150 more, you could have that. Anyway, think that's all I've got for today, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.